Alright, now let's take a look at the graphs of the absolute values. So here we have f of x equals 2x minus 6. Now, graphing absolute values, we just need to pick some points. But the main thing here is picking the right points. So what we're going to do is we're going to make up an x, y table. Okay. Now, when I choose a number, the first number I pick is I want to pick a number, a value for x, that makes what's inside this absolute value here 0. So we can see that I need to choose 3 because 2 times 3 is 6, minus 6 is 0. So 3 is the first number that I pick. Now I want to pick two numbers smaller than 3 and two numbers larger than 3. So I'm going to pick 1 and 2 and 3, and 4 and 5. Okay, so I picked what makes inside the absolute value 0. There's my 3. And then I pick two numbers smaller than that and two numbers larger. Alright, so now I just plug each of these numbers in. So I have f of 3 is equal to the absolute value of 2 times 3 minus 6, which is 0. And then I plug f of 1 in, and that's going to give me absolute value of 2 times 1 minus 6, which equals absolute value of 2 minus 6, which equals absolute value of negative 4, which equals positive 4. Okay, so now, see here we have the point 3, 0, and 1, 4. And then I'm going to plug in f of 2, plug 2 in, so I get absolute value of 2 times 2 minus 6, which equals absolute value of 4 minus 6, which equals negative 2, absolute value of negative 2, which equals positive 2. And then I'll plug in f of 4. Okay, and then we plug these numbers in similar. So if we plug 4 in, we'll get 2, and if I put in 5 and f of 5, that's going to give me 4. So there's my points, 4, 2, and 5, 4. Okay, so now all we do is we plot these points. I have the point 3, 0, 1, 4, 2, 2, 4, 2, and 5, 4. And then here's my graph. Okay. Now, it's important that you choose these points because absolute values, they're in the shape of a V. And it's important that you pick what makes inside the absolute value 0. That's going to give you, when you do that, it's going to give you this point here, okay, where it forms the V. And then then you have to pick two numbers smaller than that. That's going to be the numbers going back up this way, or the points going back up this way. And then the two numbers that you choose larger, that's going to be the points going up this way. Okay, so that's the whole key to graphing absolute value, is picking the correct points. You pick what makes inside the absolute value 0, which in this case is 3. Then you pick two numbers smaller than that and two numbers larger than that. Alright, let's take a look at another one. we have f of x equals absolute value of x minus 2. So I'm gonna make up my xy table. So I've got x, f of x. Okay, so the first number I choose, what makes inside the absolute value 0? So that would be what? 0. Okay, it's not what makes this whole thing 0, so we wouldn't choose 2 because absolute value of 2 would be 2 minus 2 is 0. We don't want that. We want what makes inside the absolute value 0. Okay, that's what we're looking for, and in this case it's just 0. So then I pick two numbers smaller, -1, -2. Okay, there's my two numbers smaller than what makes inside the absolute value 0, and then two numbers larger than this. So I'll pick 1 and 2. And then we plug these numbers in, so we have f of 0 is equal to absolute value of 0 minus 2, which equals -2. And then I have f of -1, which equals absolute value of -1 minus 2, which is 1 minus 2, which equals -1. And then I have f of -2 is absolute value of -2 minus 2, which equals 2 minus 2, which equals 0. And then we plug in the rest of them. Absolute value of 1 is 1 minus 2 is -1, and then f of 2 is absolute value of 2 minus 2, which equals 2 minus 2, which equals 0. Okay, and there's our two numbers larger. So now we just plot the points: 0, -2, -1, -1, -2, 0, and then I have 1, -1, and 2, 0. And here's my graph. Alright, so there's graphing absolute value. Watch the last video and we're going to graph square roots.